When my Tibet assignment was approved, I stood there, my emotions unable to settle for a long time. Fortunately, in this lifetime, everything is still within reach. Seeing me standing still, my superior thought I regretted it and sighed. You're too impulsive. You and Mary are about to get married. Now that you're being transferred to such a distant place, what will she do? I carefully folded the Tibet assignment approval and tucked it into my pocket, giving him a faint smile. Mary always felt wronged being with me. I've come to realize that feelings can't be forced, so I've decided to set her free. With that, I saluted and turned to leave, ignoring my superior's bewildered gaze. In my past life, Mary couldn't endure Tibet's harsh cold due to her poor health. Unable to bear leaving her alone as our wedding approached, I applied for discharge and returned to my hometown. Yet on our wedding day, she followed her first love on an urgent mission to the northwestern deserts, leaving me alone at the ceremony to endure the humiliation. After that, seeing each other became as difficult as reaching the heavens. Later, as Harry rose higher and higher in his position due to outstanding work performance, she increasingly looked down on me. Later, when she found out she was pregnant, I thought she would at least settle down for the sake of the child. But who would have guessed she would hand the newborn to me and still return to Harry's side? The two of them seemed more like a married couple. Even the daughter I raised single-handedly, changing her diapers and playing both father and mother, grew closer to Harry. Uncle Harry is a hero who defends our country, while you're just a useless good-for-nothing. How dare you call yourself my father? If it weren't for you stubbornly refusing to divorce, would Uncle Harry and my mom have to suffer like this? Later, she even moved far away and returned to Mary's side. I became a loner once again. Years of effort turned into a joke, with neighbors mocking me for raising someone else's child. All those years of hard work came to nothing. It wasn't that I didn't try to find Mary. That time, I walked for 3 days and nights searching everywhere, finally seeing her just before I collapsed from exhaustion. But before I could utter a single word, she slammed the door shut with a bang. Inside the door, Harry asked who it was, and she replied coldly, "Just a stinking beggar, don't bother." So all the effort and time I've devoted over the years amounted to nothing more than a stinking beggar in her eyes. My hand trembled as I reached out. Those hands that once carried guns and fought on the battlefield were now cracked and weathered by time. Just like me, destined to be abandoned and despised. My daughter spotted me crouching by the door and pinched her nose in disgust. "What are you doing here? No one in this house welcomes you." I shakily rose to my feet. "I want to see you and your mother one last time." Before I could finish, she impatiently interrupted, starting the victim act again. "Huh? I'm not falling for it. And even if you really are dying, do us a favor and die somewhere far away. Don't dirty our family's eyes." With that, she shoved me to the ground and turned to slam the door shut. My head hit the rock behind me, and my already weakened body completely ran out of energy. I ended my life filled with resentment and unwillingness. Perhaps even the heavens couldn't bear to watch, for when I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day I retired from the military for Mary. This time, I won't sacrifice my own life anymore. As soon as I pushed open the front door, I saw Harry sprawled out on the sofa. He barely glanced at me when I walked in. "George is back, huh? Really sorry to bother you again." Mary insisted on cooking for me because she didn't trust me to stay home alone. I had no choice but to come. His words were a blatant provocation. In the past, I would have argued with him, but now I just nodded and walked over to sit at the dining table. But when I saw the leftovers on the table, my expression froze. The lavish dishes on the table had been mostly eaten, leaving only scraps. The greens in the bowl were nearly finished too, with remnants scattered across the table, emitting a nauseating stench. Noticing my return, Mary reluctantly emerged from the kitchen. "This is the meal Harry and I specially saved for you. Eat it quickly and wash the dishes. By the way, did you get your allowance today?" Looking at her greedy expression, I couldn't help but sneer. Using my money to cook lavish meals for another man while making me eat leftovers. "You still have the nerve to come ask me for money." I looked at her coldly. Whoever ate your food, go ask them for money. I don't have any. With that, I got up and went back to my room. Behind him, Harry immediately choked up and stood. It's all my fault for insisting on disturbing you. George must be annoyed with me. Mary stomped her foot in anger, wanting to barge into the room to argue with me, only to find that I had already locked the door. She could only roar at the doorway. What are you doing? Harry comes from a wealthy family, and it's an honor for him to come to our house for a meal. Who are you giving that sour face to? I packed my things without looking up. I wonder which wealthy family is so good at raising children that they produced a beggar who comes to others' homes for food. You're simply unreasonable. Mary had never been treated with such coldness by me before, and for a moment, she was so angry she didn't know how to respond. Afraid she wasn't angry enough, I thoughtfully added, I've never seen someone so spineless, happily playing the role of a free nanny with their own hard-earned money. Those words were practically a weapon of mass destruction. Her vision went black, and she nearly fainted. A few seconds later, a loud noise echoed from the doorway, and then the house fell silent again, probably off seeking comfort from her beloved Harry again. By the time she returned home, it was already the next morning. Unlike last night's outburst of anger, she was now not only humming a tune, but also beaming with joy. She looked utterly satisfied. The hickey on her neck was so pronounced it might as well have been a direct confession of what she did at Harry's place last night. Afraid I'd be angry, she added a feeble attempt to cover it up. Don't get the wrong idea. This is just a bug bite. Why would I be angry? My heart had already been shattered in my previous life. In our past life, she did far worse than this, calling home only once every few months. I answered the call, full of anticipation, only to hear the sounds of their moans on the other end. Turns out, my pain was the stimulant for their bed. From that moment on, I lost all hope in Mary. The only reason I didn't divorce was to drag them down, to make that wretched pair suffer a lifetime of gossip. But now I understand. Why punish myself for someone else's mistakes? So I just responded with Seeing my indifferent attitude, she grew anxious. Taking advantage of my distraction, she barged into my room, pointed at the packed luggage on the floor, and demanded, What is this? Where are you going? I glanced at her. What's it to you? I kept defying her repeatedly, something that would never have happened before. She suddenly became flustered, a panic stemming from my imminent escape from her control. Stop making trouble, okay? If you don't like Harry coming to our house, I won't let him come anymore. We're about to get married. This isn't the time to throw a tantrum. She rarely spoke to me with such calmness, but I knew her willingness to compromise wasn't out of love for me. Rather, it was because Harry's current position paled in comparison to mine, both financially and in terms of status. I far surpassed him. Mary couldn't bear to let go of this wealth and privilege. So marrying me while having an affair with Harry is the best choice. I slowly raised my head to look at her, her eyes flickering with guilt. But when facing me, she still managed to force a smile. Don't be angry. We're still going to have a child together. Aren't you the one who loves kids the most? In my previous life, the triumphant smirk of my dear daughter before my death flashed before my eyes again, and I immediately frowned. I don't want such a good child. You go out first. I'm a bit tired. Rubbing my temples, I began to show her the door. She wanted to say more, but seeing my grim expression, she obediently retreated. By the time I finished tidying up and came out in the evening, I was surprised to find the previously messy room completely transformed. Mary stood in place holding a mop, cautiously giving me a smile. I had some time today, so I tidied up the house. Doesn't it look more pleasant now? I was just about to speak when suddenly the front door was pushed open. A short, sleazy-looking man walked in. Mary, why haven't I seen you at Harry's place lately? Did you two have a fight? I recognized him. He was Harry's card-playing buddy, a notorious local ruffian. Seeing him enter, Mary's smile grew noticeably more genuine. Nothing like that. I just had no other choice. The card-playing friend didn't care about her excuses and waved her hand dismissively. You probably don't know yet, but Harry fell down the hillside when he was returning from guard duty. He's still lying at home, recovering. You two are so close. Why haven't you gone to see him? What? Mary couldn't keep up the act any longer and threw what she was holding. Without even turning her head, she followed him away, leaving me all alone. Perhaps it's for the best. At least I wouldn't have to exhaust myself dealing with her. Knowing the other person is being insincere, yet still playing along in this act is utterly exhausting. While she was away, I called my mother back home to explain about canceling the wedding. My mother never thought much of Mary's family's behavior to begin with. Ever since they realized I loved their daughter more, they started making unreasonable demands. Not only did they demand an exorbitant bride price of $500,000, they even demanded that the car and house be registered under their names. Back then, out of love, I agreed to everything. Looking back now, I treated them as my parents-in-law, but they saw me as a fool to be taken advantage of. At first, my mother didn't believe it, since everyone could see how much I loved Mary. But after my repeated assurances, they finally realized I was serious. Son, as long as you made up your mind, I'll support whatever you do. A pang of sorrow struck my heart. In my past life, my mother's only wish before she passed away was to see our family of three one last time. But my daughter and Mary were busy delivering meals to Harry and directly hung up on my mom's call. Thinking of my mom's disappointed look before she died, my heart felt as if it were being cut by a knife. Fortunately, everything can still be made right now. In this life, I will absolutely not spoil Mary again. Mary took care of him for 4 days straight. The day of my departure from the military to Tibet was drawing nearer. That day, just as I had finished preparing all the materials, I suddenly overheard her conversation with Harry at the door. Mary, are you sure about this? I'm afraid George won't agree, and I don't want to put you in a difficult position. Of course it's no problem, silly. He wouldn't dare refuse me. Besides, if he really disagrees, I'll just threaten him with our marriage contract. He loves me too much to let me go. The two of them only realized I was home after entering, and their expressions turned awkward. Harry gave Mary a meaningful look, then with her support, went into our bedroom and lay down on the bed. I sneered and spoke. Am I seeing this right? Did you hit your head when you fell? Do you think this is your home? Mary immediately glared at me with displeasure. Can't you show a little sympathy? Don't you see the bandage on his foot? He's having trouble moving. What's wrong with me taking care of him? I looked at her, my eyes filled with coldness. Then why did he come to our house? Doesn't he have his own place? Mary rolled her eyes. That's a dormitory, crowded and noisy. Definitely not good for rest. Besides, with me being away for so long, there are already rumors about me outside. Bringing him home to take care of him was a last resort. So just shut up. I was starting to wonder if the person in front of me was even human. She was well aware of the rumors swirling around them. Yet instead of correcting her behavior, she wanted me to be their shield. Utterly shameless. Seeing my silence, she assumed I agreed. You'll sleep on the couch for now. I need to stay close to Harry, so I'll share the bedroom with him. But don't worry, nothing will happen between us. Nonsense, he's injured like this now. Even if the two of them wanted to do something, they'd have to see if the actual situation allows it. Only after stepping inside and scanning the room did she notice something was off. Where are all your things in the house? Why are they all gone? I didn't speak, just pointed at Harry, who was lying on the bed, looking smug. How long is he going to stay here? Mary didn't show the slightest bit of embarrassment. At least 3 months. As the saying goes, it takes 100 days to mend a broken bone. I laughed. How about I move out to give you two a better environment for recovery? Mary actually thought I was making a suggestion. That won't be necessary. You can still help out sometimes. I turned and walked away. What a lunatic. She finally remembered the marriage contract and called out to me. By the way, let's postpone the wedding for a while. I need to take care of Harry. When would I have time to marry you? I nodded, but in my heart, I thought there was no need to delay, because I wasn't going to marry you at all. Late at night, just as I was about to rest, I suddenly heard the sound of something shattering in the bedroom. A bad premonition surged in my heart. I rushed into the bedroom and saw the medal that had been prominently displayed on the shelf, now lying broken in two on the floor. Harry was tightly hugging Mary, his entire body trembling uncontrollably. I didn't mean to. I just thought the metal looked nice and wanted to take a closer look, but then Mary quickly comforted him. It's okay. It's just a worthless metal. If it's broken, it's broken. As long as you're fine, that's all that matters. The two were so engrossed in their affection that they didn't notice my trembling hands and instantly bloodshot eyes. This medal was something my father had earned with his life back in the day. After his sacrifice, it was this medal that kept me company. In my eyes, it's not just a medal, it's my father. I took a deep breath and slowly raised my head to look at Mary. Mary, come here. Mary didn't believe for a second that I would actually do anything to her. She rolled her eyes and walked right up to me. I'm telling you, Harry didn't mean it either. He was terrified too. I smacked. The slap landed squarely across her face. Caught completely off guard, the force sent her flying backward. Her body crashed heavily to the ground, the pain making her grimace. You! How dare you hit me? Are you out of your mind? Even Harry on the bed was startled. George, how could you treat Mary like that? I was the one who broke the medal. If you want to hit or scold someone, direct it at me. I walked to the bedside, grabbed his collar, and swung another full-force slap. Then, before he could react, I rained blows on him from both sides, turning his face into a swollen mess. You think I don't want to hit you? I've had enough of you. A useless piece of trash who can't even stand guard without falling and hurting himself, coming to harass someone else's fiancé every day. Do you think the whole world is your mom and dad? That everyone has to indulge you? Both of them were stunned by my frenzied state. Mary sat on the ground, staring blankly as I beat Harry half to death, taking a long time to snap out of it. She rushed forward, wrapped her arms around my waist, hitting and scolding me. What are you doing? It's just a lousy medal. It's not like you can't earn one yourself. The phrase lousy medal made my head throb. I shoved her to the ground, my voice so shrill it nearly shattered eardrums. I'll have you know, this is the honor my father exchanged with his life. Not some worthless medal as you called it. There's only one worthless thing in this house, and that's you. You tramp. I was truly out of my mind, spewing all the words I kept buried in my heart for years. Mary had never seen me like this before. She was utterly terrified. At the same time, she also realized the importance of this medal to me and didn't dare to speak anymore. Harry also didn't expect me to react so strongly and couldn't help but say, what's the point of caring so much about things when the person is already dead? Besides, he didn't finish his sentence, but after seeing my murderous gaze, he finally shut his mouth. Mary felt somewhat embarrassed and reluctantly spoke up. George, you've hit him and scolded him. That's enough. Harry is a guest. What do you think you're doing, hurting him like this? Apologize right now. I turned and glared at her fiercely. If you don't want him beaten to death by me, you'd better shut up. She shuddered. Probably her brain was misfiring, as her temper flared up at that moment. Thinking that if she couldn't suppress me now, her position in the household would change, she suddenly widened her eyes and put her hands on her hips. Are you not done yet? Apologize to Harry right now. Otherwise, I'll call off the engagement. This is her trump card. In the past, whenever she brought this up, I would agree to all her demands, no matter how unreasonable. But now, these words sound like a joke to my ears. I took a deep breath and looked at her seriously. All right, I agree to call off the engagement. Knew you'd get scared and... What? She stared at me in disbelief, doubting whether her ears had deceived her. But I remained expressionless, still looking at her. I said, I agreed to break off the engagement with you. Word by word, I repeated it once more. She froze in place, unwilling to believe this was real. How could this be? Wasn't this trick the most effective before? I would always give in as soon as it was mentioned, but now she couldn't figure out exactly which step went wrong. And I didn't want to waste any more time with them. Pack your things and get ready to move out. Now that we're separated, you can't stay here anymore. With that, I slammed the door shut without waiting for her shocked reaction. I thought I had made myself perfectly clear and she would leave on her own, but I clearly underestimated how thick-skinned she could be. When I came home in the evening and opened the door, I saw a spotlessly clean house. Harry had already left at some point. A delicious meal was still laid out on the dining table. Seeing me enter, Mary immediately flashed an ingratiating smile. "You're back. Come try the dishes I made and see if they suit your taste." I could tell at a glance that she was lowering her stance to reconcile with me. I didn't move, just leaned against the doorway. "When are you planning to leave?" She had thought I was just speaking in anger, but now she saw my expressionless face, looking somewhat awkward. "Stop making a scene. I already know I was wrong. And besides, the family has already prepared everything for our wedding. What's the point of you throwing a tantrum now?" I didn't speak, just kept looking at her face. Thinking I was still angry about Harry, she lowered her stance to explain to me. Harry just wanted to take a good look at the medal since he'd never seen it before, and besides, he didn't know the history behind it. You know, he's kind-hearted and definitely doesn't have any dirty thoughts, so don't take it to heart. After she finished speaking, I glanced at her sideways. "I'm taking it to heart?" "Mary, you should know better than anyone. If I were really taking it to heart, beating him up would be the least of it." Mary was left speechless by my words and slammed her chopsticks on the table. "How have you become so petty now? I really misjudged you back then." With that, she was about to retreat to her room to rest, but I grabbed her wrist. "Wait." She thought I was going to win her back and gleefully said, "You finally realize you're wrong, huh? Apologize to Harry quickly, and I won't hold this against you." But I replied, "This house is under my name. If you want to stay, sleep on the couch." Mary looked at me in disbelief. "Are you out of your mind? You actually want me to sleep on the couch?" I walked into the bedroom without turning my head and closed the door. Either sleep there or get out. She ultimately chose to yield. By the time I got up the next day, Harry was already waiting in the living room, and what he was clutching in his hand was none other than my bank book. Furious, I rushed forward and snatched the bank book back. "Who told you to mess with my stuff? Don't you know this is stealing behavior?" Harry was startled by me, stumbling backward and collapsing onto the floor. Mary in the kitchen heard the noise and rushed out, immediately furious at the scene. "It was me who took it. Harry needed money to buy a house and took some from us for an emergency. What's the big deal? Besides, you beat him up like that. Isn't it only right to give him some compensation?" This money was earned through my hard work, originally intended to return home and treat my mother's illness. But now it's all gone. My fists clenched with a creaking sound. "How dare you give my money to someone else? Did you even ask me?" Mary snorted coldly. "We're about to get married, and this will soon be our shared marital property. I can spend it however I want." Harry spoke with tearful eyes. "Mary, maybe I should return the money to you both. I don't want you to argue because of me." Mary looked at him with pity. "You're too easygoing. That's why he bullied you like this. Besides, the house is already bought. Where would we even get the money to pay him back?" Only then did I realize the money in the savings account had already been spent. Using my money to buy a house for her lover. Mary is truly ruthless. But I quickly adjusted my emotions and took a deep breath. I smiled slightly at the two of them. No need. If my money can help Harry, that's good enough. If it's not enough, I can even chip in a bit more. Seeing me say this, the original Mary's somewhat nervous mood instantly eased. I really can't live without her after all. She gave me a sidelong glance. "At least you know what's good for you." With that, the two of us found a restaurant to eat and drink, using the excuse of celebrating our new home purchase. The room was suddenly empty, leaving only me behind. I wiped the smile off my face, staring coldly at the passbook in my hand. "Fools, we're not married yet. This is my personal property. What they did is called theft." Then I slowly dialed a phone number. "Hello, I'd like to report a crime." After completing all this, I boarded a train to Tibet, leaving only one sentence for Mary. "I will never see you again in this lifetime." The environment in Tibet is indeed harsh, but the senior colleagues have been very considerate towards me. Not only was I not assigned overly demanding tasks, but I was also given ample time to adapt to everything here. To my even greater surprise, I encountered my long-lost best friend Ethan here. He was pleasantly surprised to see me, but soon grew puzzled. "Shouldn't you be married by now? What brings you here?" I briefly recounted the story between me and Mary. His veins bulged on his forehead in anger. What a shameless woman. You supported her in every way possible, and not only did she fail to show gratitude, she even cheated on you. I shrugged with a smile, indifferent. It was all in the past now. I was busy until evening before I finally had time to turn on my phone and let my family know I was safe. But I never expected that as soon as I powered it on, my phone would ring. It's Mary. After I pressed the hang up button, she called me back again. This cycle repeated many times until I finally lost patience and answered the call. Why are you calling me? Are you out of your mind? Her emotions on the other end of the phone grew even more intense, almost roaring out. Why did you call the police? Do you have any idea what you've done? You're ruining Harry. The police are already here. If you still want to get married, hurry up and cancel that police report. It seems Harry has already been detained. I never expected him to be so foolish as to steal my passbook outright to buy a house. He dared to do this because he was certain of my genuine feelings for Mary and that I would obey her every word. Unfortunately, he's going to be disappointed. I slowly spoke. If you have a problem with your brain, go see a doctor. I already told you I agreed to cancel the engagement. So what are you still arguing about here? Save those words for the police. After saying that, I hung up the phone and blocked all her contact information. The world was finally quiet. Ethan asked me curiously, "Is it your ex-girlfriend? What did she call you for?" I laughed. She's crazy. Time in the military flew by. I quickly adapted to everything here. Although the weather in Tibet is unpredictable, most of the time it remains within tolerable limits. When I returned to that familiar city again, more than half a year had already passed. This time I'm going back, mainly to escort a group of prisoners. As soon as we arrived at the prison, we saw the prisoners standing in a row before us, each looking dejected, a look of extreme remorse. I verified each of their identities one by one, but when I reached one person in particular, I exclaimed in surprise, "Harry." Harry already felt utterly humiliated to have fallen to such a state, wishing he could bury his head in the dirt. Yet, to his horror, I recognized him anyway, startling him so much he nearly jumped. When he saw me, he was equally shocked. "How could it be you? You're supposed to be in Tibet." I was somewhat curious. No matter what, he was still a soldier in the military. How could he have fallen to such a state? From the scattered remarks of the crowd, I pieced together the complete sequence of events. It turned out that after I reported the incident to the police, the military took it very seriously and formed an investigation team. The results were shocking. What they uncovered was far worse than expected. Harry not only stole my passbook, but also had ambiguous relationships with many locals in the station area. He deceived many girls. Some even got pregnant by him, fantasizing at home that he would come to marry them. Who knows how many women he has brought into the house Mary bought for him. Upon learning the truth, Mary broke down on the spot, unable to believe that the man she had longed for all these years could have such a despicable, true nature. Not only did she give up on saving him, but the two also hurled insults at each other in court. Mary accused Harry of toying with her emotions, while Harry's insults were even more vicious. He called Mary a loose woman, claiming anyone could have her. Cheating on one's spouse is the modern-day Pangelian. In short, it turned into an extremely ugly scene. Harry was stripped of his military status and taken to prison. Meeting you here again today truly shows how unpredictable life can be. Is this the homewrecker who ruined your family? Ethan sized him up and asked me. I nodded. Ending up like this is his own doing. If he had controlled his actions back then, he wouldn't have thrown away such a bright future. Harry flushed red with embarrassment at my words, even avoiding eye contact with me. I sighed and turned to leave. Mary later tried to contact me through many people, but I rejected them all. After that, she quieted down for a while, just when I thought the two of us would never meet again. She appeared in my world unexpectedly. That day, someone came to visit me, and I initially thought it was my mother. Who would have known that upon meeting, it turned out to be Mary? Looking at her cautious gaze, I frowned and spoke. "What are you doing here?" After a long silence, she finally spoke. I searched for you for so long to find this place. I don't expect you to forgive me anymore, but could you just talk to me, even if it's only a few words? After all, there had been affection between us in the past, and now she was lowering herself so humbly. I didn't want to embarrass her in front of everyone either, but I still maintained a polite distance. Why didn't you go see Harry? I thought you two were close. She froze for a moment, then lowered her head with a bitter smile. Don't laugh at me. You must have heard about everything that happened later. I must have been blind to fall for such a scumbag back then. I remained silent. She continued on her own. Looking back now, you were actually really good to me, thoughtful and caring in every way. It was just me who didn't know how to appreciate it. George, I know you still resent me, but I'm willing to wait for you, no matter how long it takes. I'll wait as long as you change your mind. I lower my head, my breathing growing rapid. Thinking I was moved, she quickly leaned closer. I know you dislike me, but my feelings for you now are genuine. Can you give me a chance to make amends? I waved my hand helplessly. You'd better leave. Not a single word you've said is something I want to hear. Seeing me turn to leave, she anxiously grabbed my wrist. Actually, I've always wanted to ask you. Haven't you ever thought of me all these years? I couldn't help but sneer coldly. Why would I think of you? You helped another man scheme against me, nearly bankrupting me. It's already generous of me not to sue you along with him. Yet you're still daydreaming. Mary's lips trembled. I was too foolish back then, but now I know the truth. Besides, I've already paid the price. Ever since she had a falling out with Harry, he sent their extensive flirty chat logs to all their mutual friends. She became notorious, despised by everyone as the modern-day Pangelian. Wherever she went, people would point and gossip. That's the shameless woman who conspired with her lover to betray her fiancé. TSK. She looks decent, but who knew she could be so heartless? I heard her fiancé was so hurt he went straight to Tibet and hasn't come home since. What a tragedy. There were many similar comments. Mary didn't even dare to recall them. You could say now, apart from me, no one else would want her anymore. It's a pity, but now I don't want her either. I'm completely disillusioned with her. Thinking about how I trusted her like a fool for so many years in my past life, only to end up like that, makes me laugh bitterly. After driving him away, I returned to the military base. Ethan asked curiously, I heard you went back and met your old flame. How did it go? I kicked him right away. Get lost. Always asking things I don't want to hear. After serving in the garrison for a few years, I was promoted as expected. At the same time, I could return to my hometown military unit to take care of my mother, which was truly good news for me. If it weren't for my mother arranging blind dates for me every day, my life would certainly be much more comfortable. Mom, please don't trouble yourself anymore. I really don't have the heart for that right now. My mother grew anxious. You're a grown man. It's time to marry. You're already over 30. If you don't get married soon, when will I ever get to hold my grandchild? Tell me the truth. Do you still have feelings for that Mary? I nearly spat out my water. Mom, do you really think so little of me? I just want to wait a couple more years. I'm not in a hurry. My mother stood up abruptly. 2 more years. By the time you're in your 40s or 50s, no one will want you. Today, no matter what you say, you're coming with me to meet this young lady. Her conditions are truly excellent. Before the words even finished, I had already dashed to the door. Sorry, Mom. I can't meet this one. If you really like her, why not adopt her as your goddaughter? With that, I vanished from my mom's sight, leaving her behind to scold me for being so troublesome. Mary somehow found out about this, especially that line about whether you still can't forget Mary. It gave her confidence once again. When she happily showed up at my door with bags full of stuff, I was stunned. Wait, why are you here again? She shyly turned her face away. I know you still can't forget me, and neither can I. Can we start over? I decisively shut the door. Get out. I won't say it again. But she stood outside the door shouting as if she couldn't understand human language. It's okay. I won't give up like this. I believe sooner or later you'll see my determination, and we can definitely go back to how things were before. I shrugged. Going back to how things were probably isn't possible, but if you have anything to say, you can talk to my wife. After speaking, I opened the door and stepped aside to make way. The stunningly beautiful woman walked out with a smile. How about coming in for a chat? Seeing her wife, who was countless times more beautiful than her, standing before her, Mary dropped the flowers in her hand. She uttered in disbelief, "You, aren't you single?" My wife gently leaned against my shoulder. "That's because we haven't had the chance to tell Mom the truth yet. We've already gotten married, and—" She smiled, placing a hand on her belly. "I'm already pregnant." Mary looked at me in disbelief. "What on earth is going on? Are you just trying to upset me? How could you possibly fall for someone else?" I was afraid she might go crazy and hurt my wife, so I shielded my wife behind me and smiled faintly. "Do you think we have this much time to fool around with you?" Mary couldn't utter a single word and stared at us for a long time. In the end, she turned away, utterly devastated. His figure had just disappeared when my wife frowned unhappily. "Humph. Seeing her so upset must have hurt your heart." I sighed helplessly. "Don't talk nonsense." In my heart, she's not even worth a single strand of your hair. My wife finally smiled happily, grinning widely. "That's more like it, but I won't allow you two to meet again in the future." I quickly raised my hand. "I absolutely won't make my dear wife angry." My mother's furious voice came from the kitchen. "Did you make my daughter-in-law unhappy again? You brat. I swear I'll beat you to death today." Watching my mom charging at me aggressively with a broom in hand, I quickly hid behind my wife. "Wife, save me." My wife earnestly patted my hand. "Husband, I believe you can safely overcome this difficulty. You can do it." With that, she darted into the kitchen. I was yelping in pain as my mom kept hitting me. This life, I'm quite satisfied with it.